financing your next billion. Gain insights into successful engagements with venture capitalists and investors. Get ahead of industry trends, hear from industry leaders, influencers, founders, policymakers, and governments. Stay in the know on how to finance your next billion.
Well, welcome everyone. This is FYNB Talks, and when you're with us, you are financing your next billion in some shape, form, or fashion. And as you know, the financing of your next billion is not simply with money. The financing could also be with holistic healing and any number of things. And that is the guest that I have today. So I gave you a little bit of snippet, and we're going to come back to her. I wanted to actually let you know we're here today on behalf of Women Leading Change Now. I'm Yvonne Gamble, and I'm the CEO and Executive Director of Women Leading Change Now. And this is our 69th session for the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women. And the CSW, what our theme is, our overarching theme for 2025 is to review and assess, we're going to give an assessment of the implementation of the Beijing Declaration. And as you may or may not know, that was a declaration and platform for action with interactive dialogues so that we could assess how well are women in the conversation, women and girls included in the conversations on inclusive development that goes on in a country or in a locale, globally. What is the shared prosperity? What does that look like? Decent work that they have, environmental conservation, protections, rehabilitations, and peaceful and inclusive societies. Are those being made? Are those being nurtured? And how are they coming along? And what types of things that we have to do? We do this convening here, which is actually 5 years before our actual directive of 2030, so that we can assure where we are and what we need to do if we need to ramp up, because in 2030, we have certain goals that we want to meet and certain impacts that we want to have already in place. So this is why we are doing this here at the 5-year mark. With Women Leading Change Now, through our subject matter experts that we always bring about, entrepreneurs and women from all over the globe, in corporate, in holistic healing, in different institutions, universities, what have you, nonprofit agencies. We're going to take a deep dive into each one of them so that we can give you a broad perspective on the current and future outlook on the status of women from their individual perspectives on where they are and what they are doing today, tomorrow, and in the future. And we're going to we have with us a guest, Permelia Parham, and she's coming to us from the island there in Vancouver, Canada. And she's from the Healing Institute, and they do international wellness. And she's going to talk to us about how you can actually engage this organization online and how that's going to actually help you. We're going to look at 3 different areas. How do they empower the next generation, and what type of catalytic processes and systems they have in place for lasting change? Because we all know, immediate change is nice, but what really makes a difference to a society is that lasting change that actually is being put in. And we're also going to explore with her what types of things they're doing for continuous adaptation, because change is inevitable. And so how do we actually affect that continually, adapting to the changes that are coming around us? And then we're going to look at our last area would be that 100% equity going forward. Are we getting towards that, or are we stagnant? So with that, I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to ask my esteemed guest, who's the founder and CEO, Permelia Parham, to give us that first, look at who she is and who is her organization. Permelia.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate being here today. So I created the Healing Institute because I'm really passionate about education and educating people around how to be well and how to stay well on their health journey, because we're all on a health journey. So empowering that lasting change, we are looking at a more wellness society, uh, and a more proactive wellness society. I often say we've kind of been a reactive illness society for a little bit too long, and it's now for us time to change that paradigm from going from real thinking, which is what we have been raised to think, that we needed someone else to fix us or to heal us, to knowing and learning. And there's such amazing science that is out there now, learning that we actually can do that ourselves. Our bodies are remarkable. And just given the right tools and the right conditions, our bodies could actually heal themselves. So that's where we're coming in from with the Healing Institute as a virtual global online platform with holistic practitioners all over the world. Now we're new and we're just growing, but we have a big mission and we have a big vision, and that is really to provide health and healing to the world.
That is wonderful. I like what you said there. And I'm going to stay with that changing that paradigm of simply having somebody else fix the problem into actually you fixing you are able, because the body has a self-healing mechanism itself.
Absolutely.
And so now in doing that, does that say, is that something that says no to Big Pharma? Or is that something that says, in addition to your medications you may be taking, how is that done, in concert to get people comfortable with, because a lot of people they're relying on the medications, the other substances or what have you. So how do we now truly make that paradigm shift in the mind and then in the body?
Well, that's a great question, Yvonne. And so how I consider the Healing Institute as well is a bridge between the two. So the medical model we've had for many years is called allopathic, and now what I'm endorsing is the holistic. But we're not going to be throwing away the allopathic, because of course we still need that. But we want to focus more on what people can do in conjunction with what they're doing already for their health, and look at it from a more holistic point of view. And that's where I see the Healing Institute as that bridge, trying to bridge that together. Our medical model, unfortunately, is not working the way we thought it would work, or the way we've been raised that it was going to work for the last 50 years. And the reason for that is because that medical model only looked at symptoms. It didn't look at the root cause. And that's what holistic health does, and holistic healing. We find the root cause. What is going on? If you have a discomfort, an ache, or a pain, why is that? Now, is that something primarily physical, or could it also be an emotion that is trapped in your subconscious, and you don't even know that emotion that happened because of perhaps a trauma is actually feeding what's going on in your physical body. And more the science that we're learning is that the emotional body and the physical body and the spiritual body all work really well together. So we need to find out, where is that coming from? What is that issue? Whatever the client might have, whatever the patient might have. And then deal with the issue. We deal with that root cause, not just the symptom, not that you just have a headache, or you have an ache, or you have a pain, or you're feeling sad, or you're feeling depressed. There's a reason why that's happening.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes absolute sense, because more times than not, So it's almost like I could literally see a book coming out of this, like they had Think and Grow Rich, is Think and Get Healthy.
Yes, most definitely.
It's a book
Yes.
title. I just threw that out there.
Thank you.
I to
Thank you for
write
that.
that book. Help Think and Get Healthy.
What happens when a group of the world's greatest minds gifted with wealth beyond our imagination buys a sprawling waterfront property in Toronto? They make plans for a $14.3 billion futuristic city, that's what. Sidewalk Labs released its master innovation and development plans to turn a chunk of Toronto's Lake Ontario shoreline into the most futuristic city in the world. It would result in over 93,000 jobs and a better standard of living for its residents. And today, we're going to take a peek inside. Welcome back to our channel. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a video from us. Google X Sidewalk Smart City.
Because really, that's truly where things start. You know, no matter where we are, what we're doing, or how we're doing it, it always begins with a thought.
Absolutely, yes.
And so,
And there's some brilliant scientists out there, medical doctors and scientists, who now have done that correlation between what we think and how we are how our health, our physical health and mental, emotional, spiritual health, how that can be to us living our best lives, rather than thinking something is wrong with us. And so we need to go and find an expert to fix us. And that is definitely an option. Not saying that not to do that. I'm just saying you look inside first and find out what is going on with you. And that may take a therapist, or it may take a practitioner to have that conversation with, to find out what that is. One of my, I guess, values, I would say, is be curious, ask questions. So be curious about what's going on in your body. Be curious about how you're feeling. If you are being recommended to be on a particular medication, a pharmaceutical of some kind, do some research, find out what the side effects are, find out, and then also be, if you decide to take it, then be curious of what's happening in your body. If it doesn't feel right, if your physicality, you're feeling worse, then maybe ask your physician or healthcare provider if you could take less of what they've recommended. So we need to be our own advocates, I would say, around our health and healing. And there is so many wonderful things out. There's a heart institute in California, where they've done research around how the heart, which they now realize has got a brain, connects to our conscious brain, and it's called heart coherence. So there is a definite correlation between how we feel in our heart and how we think. There's also another correlation between our gut health and our brain health.
Yes.
So that is science that has just been coming out in the last few years. So be curious, read up on that, look at how that can affect you personally.
Now, with all of that, and I'm understanding that, and I'm reading, I am reading up a lot of that, because that was kind of leading me to, how the medical community, the allopathic, how they are actually embracing this. And now you kind of touched on that when you said the scientific community is kind of leading and pushing that and saying, hey, your heart has a brain, your gut has a brain, these types of things. And they talk and they're in concert, with, the brain itself at all times. And telling people that advocacy for your body is really self-attunement.
Absolutely.
Get in tune with your body. And when you get that, once you're attuned with your body, then, you pretty much know what's going on inside of there. And I think we've kind of, like you said, we we missed the mark when we were going into the doctor and the doctor was asking us, how do you feel? And what's wrong and what's happening? And so therefore, and we were kind of led in thought that we had to say, my pain, what is my pain level, and not what is my feeling level, or, what am I thinking, or what's been going on in my environment. And really, that's really what they need to be kind of driving some of those questions towards. What's going on in my environment? What's going on in my life? What's happening in my career, in my business, with my children, with my family? What am I thinking about, just the life around me? And when you kind of answer some of those, start to answer, I'm pretty sure that's what happens at the Institute. You bring those questions out. So how then, if someone is doing this over Zoom, just kind of walk us through, what would that kind of look like or be like?
Well, because we are all made up of energy, and again, this isn't always sort of mainstream knowledge, if you will, but we are, we are all made up of energy. And so the modalities that we offer at the Healing Institute can all be done over Zoom, because they're looking at, we have an amazing conscious breathing facilitator. She can do a breathing exercise. You can do it over Zoom. We have a fabulous boundaries coach. That can be done over Zoom. There's a number of things that we can do. Reiki can be done over Zoom now. The work that I do with body code and emotion code, looking at those trapped emotions, that's all energy. So that can be done over Zoom or over the phone, because it's just connecting to the person who's looking for some answers around their well-being. So it works beautifully. And there is a statistic that I have on my website, and I found this when I was doing my business plan back in 2021, and then in 2021 the statistic was by this Hero Digital research company, was 83% of people were open to doing virtual care. So that was back in 2021. So, 4 years later, I'm sure the statistic is much higher. So it's the new way, I believe, of looking at how we can do things, and certainly keeping our health a priority. And I know in many countries, certainly in Canada where I live, and in the US where you live, there's a shortage of doctors, of actual medical doctors. Mm-hmm. So I don't even have a doctor here on Vancouver Island in Canada. If I need something, which thank goodness I don't, but at any times when I've wanted to, talk to a medical professional around maybe my blood pressure or something, we have what we call telehealth. So we can actually get a medical doctor, and you do a FaceTime over your phone. So, that is it's the way the world is going, which is, I think, beautiful, because there's so many wonderful opportunities, especially in the health and healing, from all countries. And so for us to be able to access that is just only going to assist people to the maximum. Yeah.
Well, excellent. So that just leads us right into how some of the things, and I want you to expound on, specifics on how the Healing Institute is empowering the next generation, mm-hmm. so that they become, you obviously are a catalyst for lasting change. And so what types of things are you doing, say, to bring in, maybe in the way that would ultimately expand what you do, so that it goes out exponentially and the next generation is actually doing this?
what's remarkable, Yvonne, is that, the next generation is probably even more tuned in to doing things online than certainly yours and my generation, because they have grown up with it. So they're way more open. And so because they're more open, I believe it's our responsibility to give them those opportunities, to let them know that there are those other opportunities. We hear all the time that there's a certain age range of youth that are more depressed and are more anxious. And, here at the Healing Institute, we want to let them know we have practitioners that can help them with anything that they are dealing with and working with. All of the sessions are private, of course. And so we're in the process to try to meet that need that's out there in the world by bringing practitioners to the Healing Institute from all over the world, so that we can reach globally in all corners of the world.
Okay. Well, excellent. I love it. I love it. How do we continuously adapt to all of these changes that are going on? We are most certainly being bombarded with big pharma. I mean, every commercial, every late night commercial I know here in the States, or not even late night commercials. It used to be late night. Now it's all day long. Every commercial is telling you about, some drug that might help you, and then it gives you this whole litany. Is, may give you 30 seconds and then 45 seconds of all the side effects of it. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, why should I really take this? And what I'm not seeing, what I would like to see, would that be something that they could put, that say your institute would put in, even as a PSA, public service announcement, to help us to, to get that knowledge out there and continuously, adapt and change, and knowing that we have to change?
Well, and that's a great question, because yes, we are in the process of evolving our institute. At the moment, I have been mostly focused on getting our directory of practitioners, so that we have people available for clients coming to the website. But that is another whole portion that is in the works from the institute side. And again, as I mentioned, I called the Healing Institute an institute because I'm really passionate about education and educating people on how to be well and how to stay well. And so we want to have that. We're going to be exploring that whole area of having like almost like a library.
Right.
So the people that I listen to on a regular basis, like Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton and Greg Braden, that maybe mainstream society hasn't heard of, and hasn't heard about their stories, and hasn't heard about their experiences, they can come to the Healing Institute, and in the library they would be able to find those, and then more information of whatever our practitioners have. We'll be having they'll be having not only just podcasts and information, but also they'll be putting together workshops and seminars that people can take part in.
That is very good. That's very, very good, because so many of us, that's how we're getting, our in-depth, our deep dive
Exactly.
into different types of information, by, like you said, if you have something like that available, that's very good, because then that way people can have some of their questions answered, and then they know they can contact you if they want to answer those questions, if they want to, a deeper dive.
Yes.
Do that.
And all of our practitioners have a 30-minute complimentary information time that people can book with them. So we do also have part of the platform where, when you decide to connect with the practitioner and work with the practitioner, of course, there's a payment fee, but there is this complimentary information. So I always encourage people to come to the website and find the practitioners, and maybe have that information session with all of them that we have presently on the Healing Institute. We recognize, as holistic practitioners, you have to have a conversation before you can offer a healing modality. And some of our practitioners have more than one. So yes, you have to have that conversation to determine, both from the patient client side and also from the practitioner side, what is going to be the best opportunity for the client. What's
Okay.
going to work best for them.
That's good. That's good. So that's, some like, how you may have a group of doctors, the heart specialist, the kidney specialist, the gut health specialist, maybe working together on a particular problem that a patient is having. And so you're saying this works pretty much in that same manner.
Yes, most definitely. And I just want to make a point that we are a wellness community. So the way we set ourselves a little bit apart from other wellness directories, because there's lots of them out there, the Healing Institute, as we are a wellness community. So all of our practitioners know each other, regardless of where they are in the world. We all get to know each other. We have meetings together. We know that when a client comes to the Healing Institute and maybe chooses a certain practitioner and has a session with them, they really have everybody, all of the practitioners in the Institute are available to them.
Okay. Well, that's very good. That is very, very good. Um, So you have given us a lot of information here to think about, a lot of information to understand and to take forward and to put in, and have promised us that there's going to be even more, information, and that's good, and more webinars so that we can truly understand the holistic, aperture, and, and let that get, larger and larger for us. So that brings us to one of the main things on the United Nations, on the Commission on the Status of Women, that is always overarching at all of our convenings, and that is the 100% equality going forward.
Yes.
How will this seems like it levels the playing field, and maybe that's just my, novice, understanding. How does this help us, as far as women, girls with our health, as far as women who are going into professionals who may be looking to go into these types of careers that can actually do this holistic healing? How does this stack up against saying that going forward, that 100% equity goal that we're trying to reach?
Oh, well, I believe in that just completely and absolutely, Yvonne. I mean, we really need to give women and girls support, not only with their health, but also with their careers. And, I've been a mentor for many, many different young women and men my whole life in my different capacities that I've worked with. And I truly, truly believe in that, and mentorship, and also the kind of support that we can give. You've given me a really great idea to think about in planning into the future, is to have a component, a part of the Healing Institute where we can offer that mentorship, where we can offer small courses with all the modalities that we offer, just so that women and young girls can say, oh, you know what? I think maybe that's an area that I would like to pursue a career in. So they can get sort of a taste of what that might be like. So I'm very encouraged that we would be right there with definitely helping and supporting women and girls going forward into the next 50 years.
There we go. I love it. I love it. So you said it before I could say it, because I was going to ask you, Permelia, what do the next 100 years look like? So you've already got yourself started on your 50 years. So thank you for that, because that's something that I always ask all my guests. And I says, okay, when we're looking at this, things have to be planned. We live in places that were planned hundreds of years ago, and they were planned 100 years, 200 years at a time, what that might look like. What's the next 100 years going to look like? And so I am so elated that you're already looking at, hey, that next 50 years, because that's how we can assure that we can go into those futures that we want to go. And I love the idea that we're changing that you're changing that paradigm. You're shifting that paradigm from simply, I'm literally acquiescing my healthcare to someone else and not feeling that my healthcare is truly my responsibility.
By 2050, our planet will be a vastly different place. By 2050, artificial intelligence will be everywhere. AI-driven stores will allow you to purchase goods without cashiers or waiting lines. AI will diagnose and treat patients, manage transportation, and analyze massive quantities of data. AI chatbots and voice recognition systems will sound like and behave just like real people. AI will be implemented into robots. By 2050, robot dogs and other pets will serve as companions. Robots will dominate factories and begin to serve as teachers, cooks, pharmacists, law enforcement officers, athletes, and other professionals. In 2050, universal translators will remove all language barriers, and voice recognition will be ubiquitous. Hundreds of sensors will be installed in our clothes, homes, and overall environment to monitor our well-being and improve our lives. Computing will change. By 2050, we may run on quantum computers. Based on the properties of quantum physics, quantum computers could deliver massive leaps in computing power, outstripping any current transistor-based models. AI and computers will integrate into humans. Brain chips like Elon Musk's Neuralink will treat neurological disorders like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, spinal cord injury, and blindness. These brain chips will allow people to control computers and prosthetics with no physical interaction. By 2050, we may be controlling things with our minds and communicating through brain signals. By 2050, robotic prosthetics may be stronger and more advanced than our own biological ones. Prosthetic eyes and ears will enter the market, curing blindness and deafness. And in 30 years, like AI, virtual reality will be everywhere. People will try on clothes in virtual reality closets, and holograms will bring FaceTime to a new level. VR platforms will allow you to move around while staying still. We will be able to travel the world and experience life on other planets, all from home.
And Yvonne, I really love the process and the idea of us giving, as people are making those kinds of decisions, because it is a paradigm shift. The pandemic was horrible, but it gave us a lot of time to pause and to think. And we did take out more responsibility for ourselves. We had, in Canada here, we had to mask up. I remember that first summer, we were outside the grocery store, standing 2-3 feet apart. So it gave us a thought process about, okay, I need to take responsibility for my health. And in doing that, but it is a transition. And so we want to be able to support people as they're going through their transition, because it's not an easy 1 minute I think this and the next minute I think that, or one day I think this and the next minute I think that, or the next day. So yes, we really want to be that support for people as they're making that transition.
Okay. Well, excellent. Well, that's is there any other thoughts that you would like to share, with the United Nations, as this information, will be provided to them? Your voice now is added to the collective voices that, are global on, the Commission on the Status of Women here in 2025. Are there any parting things that you want to say to us during this transformative time?
I would just really support and really encourage everyone to be curious, ask questions, go introspective, make sure that both physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, that you are on the path that you believe you should be on, or that you're searching for that path. And the only way to do that is to be curious and to ask questions.
Okay, well, very good. Curiosity will definitely teach you many things, and ask as many questions as you possibly can. As my guest Permelia Parham, founder and CEO of the Healing Institute, has told us, and they are an international wellness community. And the beauty of it is you can simply go out to their website, www.thehealing-institute.com, and you can set up yourself with a 30-minute consultation, get online, understand what's going on with you, and have a whole entire bank of holistic healers to actually help you work through those things that you may be experiencing. So I thank my guests, and I thank the time with the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women here, and hopefully we provided, to the organization and to women around the world something from FYNB Talks live. And we want you basically to be healthy, be happy, be productive, and let's look forward to the next 100 years together. Thank you. Okay, and we're out.
Lovely. That was
Lovely.
delightful.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yes. That's the way we do it, and we have that. So I would love to invite you back in Holistic Healers to talk specifically about the different areas that you have. I think that would be well worth it, as well as it would give you some additional information. It'll give you some little snippets as you go and you want to put them into your archive, your resource library. It would give that, and it would really kind of help with some of those specific areas, like you said. This would help to kind of promote, because what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I would love that. Thank you.
I was speaking to my cousin yesterday and did not know that she's we were talking, and the pain that she's in, the physical, just the body is just always in pain. She's not sick with any disease or anything, like the body's always in pain. Then we got to talking more about what's been happening with her the past 7-8 years, going through with her mother, who passed away, and taking care of her until her death, and then her grandmother, and then her husband's mother. And then she was saying at the same time, before she could even finish her sentence, Permelia, she was telling me, my sister, she broke her ankle, so I'm gotta go over and do this, gotta go over and do that, and I was like, Jesus Christ. I told her, I said, slow down.
And your health care, and what about your health care?
I said, how are you doing? And just keeping going and going and going. I said, no.
Is there any wonder that she's in pain?
Exactly. I said, you can't take on all of this pain and not have a release of it.
Yeah.
You're still grieving your mother, your grandmother, his mother, because all these things have happened within the last 2 years. They've all passed away within the last 2 years. So I says, you don't just do this, and it's not like I wash a load of clothes and I take them out to dry, fold them up. No, and put them away.
And the thing about our bodies that are so amazing, Yvonne, is that when we're not tuned into them, they're going to make noise. And usually it's in pain. And that pain is any pain that we have. The allopathic community, the big pharma, doesn't want us to use the word pain as a holistic, so we use discomfort instead. But anyway, you and I can talk about pain. It's inflammation in the body, and inflammation in the body kills our cells, and that's what ages us.
Yes.
So we really need to keep ourselves as healthy as possible.
And also, tell me this, in that inflammation, because this is what I'm seeing, even in myself. I do a lot of the holistic one. But if something you know how like your body kind of can swell up,
Yes.
bloat up, you know. So I'm past that age. So I'm not bloating. I'm not bloating, you know, for that you know, that monthly reason anymore.
The hormone.
The
reason.
hormones. So now it's like, you know, all of a sudden, you know, my stomach is it just blows up, and you know, arms are, you know, you swell up and that sort of thing. You're like, well, you know, what's going on? And then, you know, I do some deep meditation, you know, that sort of thing like that. I'm not hurting. And then I notice, okay, body just kind of goes back down. I'm like, that's weird. You know, like, that's weird. And, you know, not really, but just trying to now put two and two together. But just what you just said, you know, now that makes sense. It will,
Totally.
you know, it just, you know, it's like, okay, I'm mad about something,
Yeah.
or something is bothering me, or anxiety, or something I'm not dealing with. And then when I meditate or what have you, then, you know, I defocus from the part that's getting bigger, and then I just kind of focus on what the, you know, what the issue is, and then that goes away. So it's like so that's really
Very
like the body's way of
Yep, the
saying that
body's
it's
telling
amazing.
us. Yeah.
Body
the
is trying to tell me there's
body,
something.
what's there's a book out, the body takes the score or holds the score, something like that. I can't remember exactly what the title is, but it's very, very true. Because when we're not, you know, when we're doing like your sister, it's your sister, right? Or your cousin.
It's my cousin.
Your cousin is going, and she's doing for everybody and not for herself.
Right.
Her body's not happy. Her body's telling her that's why she's got pain, because her body's telling her she needs to slow down. And so when, you know, I have a yoga meditation I do every morning. It's the first thing I do when I get up. I have my yoga mat, I stick it on the floor. It's dark because I get up very early, but I'm okay with that. I have a little electric fireplace that I don't even turn the heat on, although I could have done that today because it's a little cold out, but I just like the flames, right? So I'm on my yoga mat, I'm doing my yoga meditation. I get up earlier, an hour earlier every morning, because I want that time. I do a lot of my modality, my body code, emotion code healing work. So I need to be grounded, so I can be grounded for my clients. And that is something that I learned many years ago when I studied with an energy teacher for 8 years, is you need to look after yourself first. And it's so important for that to happen, for you to be calming your autonomic nervous system. So that when things happen during the day, you're not in that fight, flight, or freeze mode. Yeah.
You know, that kind of takes me back. I worked with the lady. I worked in software engineer, and I worked with a woman, and she was actually a clinical. She had a clinic. She had her own clinic. She was a psychoanalyst, and she had a psychoanalyst clinic, full-blown clinic, you know, other psychoanalysts, what have you, the big deal. And so when she said what she did, and it was like, okay, so that was very young at this time, I was in 20s. And so, you know, I'm asking, finally got up to her, asked the question. She was the manager, asked her the questions. I said, well, what did you do with the clinic? She said, oh, I still have the clinic, it still operates. And so, you know, I'm trying to resolve, well, why are you working here? You know, you got this big time clinic. I look it up and everything like that. I'm like, well, you know, yeah, we made good money. Yes, you just technology, and that's what it's cutting edge technology. And so she said, because the state board has it such that they can only work for so many years straight, and then they have to come out of the clinic.
My gosh.
Yeah, they have to come out of the clinic, because when they're doing psychoanalysts, they're psychiatrists, psychiatry and all like that. When they're doing that, they stay doing that too many years straight. They have to go like every 3-4 years. Then you got to go for 3 or 4 years and do something entirely different. that has nothing to do with that body of work, because of the fact that you will begin to take on the personalities of those people, just like what you just said. You have to clear your mind so that because you're doing this coding or decoding with someone, and when it blows up for them or they're coming to you in all these different ways, it's not like getting inside of you. You know?
Yeah, I was very fortunate to study with this energy teacher that I found, over 25 years ago now. And I studied with her for 8 years, and she taught us about our energy, our electromagnetic field, which has been tested, right? It goes out for many feet, yards around us. And she taught us to do a energy balance. And I do that every morning as well, because I, need to be in balance for my clients. So she taught us to do this energy balance so that we weren't going to take on other people's energy.
Financing your next $1 billion? Contact us to be a guest. Join us for the next show.